great deceiver has returned to Middle-earth.
Have you ever wondered if the greatest evils to ever haunt Middle-earth could return? In the grand mythology of Middle-earth, there are two great evils. One, Morgoth, the original Dark Lord, and his servant turned successor, Sauron. But this brings up one tantalizing and ominous question really. Could Sauron resurrect Morgoth?
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Morgoth, originally named Malkor, was the strongest of the Ainur and the first to turn to darkness and become that first Dark Lord. He was the reason that much darkness and evil ever made its way into Middle-earth in the first place. His reign of terror culminated in the War of Wrath, where he was ultimately defeated by the combined might of the Valar and exiled from the world, ending the First Age. Just imagine the Siege of Angband, the last fortress of Morgoth, the Valar leading a host of elves and men. The sky lights with the clash of divine powers as Morgoth's dark realm crumbles under the relentless assault, culminating in his capture and banishment. His removal brought a temporary peace, but the shadow of his malice lingered. In the ensuing power vacuum, Sauron, once a servant of the Valar Aule and a Maya of great power himself, emerged as a new dark force when he was taken in by Morgoth. Initially less evil than his master, Sauron's ambition and cunning soon led him down a similar path of domination and ruin. His rise was marked by the forging of the Rings of Power and the ensnaring of Middle-earth's leaders, setting the stage for centuries of strife. The legacies of Morgoth and Sauron are deeply intertwined with the fate of Middle-earth. Morgoth's fall led to the reshaping of the world, and his pervasive evil influenced the land and its inhabitants long after his banishment. Sauron's ascendance brought new forms of deception and war, furthering the discord sown by Morgoth. Together, their actions and the reactions they incited shaped the history, cultures, and very geography of Tolkien's world.
One ring to rule them all.
The likelihood of Sauron ever actually bringing Morgoth back, trying to resurrect him, is actually quite a complex question. The Valar, after a hard-fought battle against Morgoth, actually managed to defeat him, tie him up, send him through the doors of night into the timeless void, an action endorsed by Eru Ilúvatar, the creator of all. Such a profound judgment by the highest powers in Tolkien's universe suggests a near impossibility of Morgoth's return by any lesser being's hands, including Sauron's. Imagine a Middle-earth under the shadow of a resurrected Morgoth. The skies darken, the earth trembles, and ancient evils stir. The peoples of Middle-earth, from the legendary elves to the men in their kingdoms, look into the horizon with a mix of fear and resolve. The forces of good marshal together for an unimaginable war. The desperate alliances and epic battles that would ensue would be ones of legend. However, in the realm of theoretical discussion, and given Sauron's title as the Necromancer, one might ponder the extent of his power. Sauron was a Maya, a being of immense might and knowledge, yet his power was significantly less than Morgoth's. The lore does indicate that beings in Tolkien's universe can return from death, as evidenced by Beren and Luthien, who were granted a second life by the Valar, and Gandalf, who was sent back in a more powerful version of his form by Eru Ilúvatar as Gandalf the White, with those enhanced powers and purpose. These instances of resurrection were, however, under the direct influence or allowance of higher authorities and for purposes that aligned with the overall balance and correction of the world. In the case of Morgoth, his essence was so interwoven with the very matter of Arda and his evil so profound that his return would likely require an upheaval or allowance of cosmic proportions. It seems more plausible that Sauron, in his pursuit of dominion, might aspire to or feign the resurrection of Morgoth as a means of instilling fear or commanding loyalty, rather than achieving an actual return of the Dark Lord.
And he does not share power.
When you think about it, Morgoth and Sauron, although both being Dark Lords, had very different methods and ways of going about things during their reigns. Morgoth, or originally Malkor, desired to dominate and destroy out of a twisted envy and a wish to corrupt all of creation. His was a path of nihilism, seeking to mar everything that was not under his direct control. He wanted not just to rule over Middle-earth, but to reshape it entirely to his will, or failing that, to obliterate it. Morgoth's nihilism and envy are epitomized in his obsession with the Silmarils, those jewels of purest light created by the skilled elf craftsman Feanor. These radiant gems, imbued with the light of the two trees of Valinor, represented all that was beautiful and untainted in the world. Yet, it was their beauty and the reverence they received that kindled a dark and consuming greed in Morgoth. His desire to possess and corrupt the Silmarils led him to commit heinous acts, including the theft of the jewels and the murder of Feanor's father, High King Finwë. This act set forth the tragic chain of events known as the Oath of Feanor and the subsequent doom of Mandos, leading to wars, betrayals, and the suffering of countless beings. Morgoth's relentless pursuit of the Silmarils and his delight in the discord and sorrow that followed underscore his nature as a being of pure malice, one who seeks to destroy or twist all that is good and beautiful. It was not enough for him to simply rule, he sought to mar and undo the very fabric of creation, leaving a legacy of pain and ruin that echoed through the ages. And the shadow of Morgoth was ever over them. This quote encapsulates the enduring and pervasive nature of Morgoth's evil, a shadow that stretched across lands and hearts, tainting the world with his destructive envy and malice. Sauron, on the other hand, though undoubtedly cruel and malevolent, was more of a tactician, a deceiver, and a strategist. He desired order, but an order that placed him firmly at the top, controlling the fates of all below. Unlike Morgoth, he sought destruction for its own sake. Sauron desired to dominate and orchestrate a world that, while under his tyrannical rule, would still function and serve his vision of order. Sauron's cunning and strategic mind are perhaps best exemplified by his deception of the elves in the creation of the Rings of Power. Masking his true intentions, he approached the elven smiths of Eregion under the fair guise of Annatar, the Lord of Gifts. He counselled them in arts and magic never seen before, leading to the forging of those Rings of Power. But in secret, Sauron crafted the One Ring to rule all others, pouring his own malice and will to dominate into it. This grand deceit not only demonstrated his immense skill and intelligence, but also his ability to betray trust and manipulate others to achieve his own ends. The fallout from this betrayal was immense, leading to wars and mistrust among races that would last for ages. For Sauron was become now a sorcerer of dreadful power, master of shadows and of phantoms, foul in wisdom, cruel in strength, misshaping what he touched. This quote reflects Sauron's immense power and his corrupting influence. As the master of shadows and phantoms, he was not only a sorcerer of dreadful power, but also one who twisted and perverted the very nature of things he involved himself with, embodying the essence of deceit and corruption. Should Sauron somehow manage to bring Morgoth back, it's unlikely their alliance would be harmonious. Morgoth's chaotic nature and desire for destruction would clash with Sauron's more ordered tyranny. Their union could lead to an unprecedented era of darkness, but equally, it might culminate in a power struggle, with each seeking to undermine the other for ultimate control. Such a conflict could lead to further devastation of Middle-earth, as two of the mightiest beings vie for supremacy. The implications of their potential clash or alliance are significant. The peoples of Middle-earth, already wearied by wars and the lingering shadows of evil, would face unimaginable horrors. The very fabric of the world might once again come under threat, echoing the catastrophic battles of earlier ages. This theoretical alliance represents not just a union of power, but a clash of catastrophic intentions, with Middle-earth's very existence hanging in the balance. So there we have it. After delving today deep into the depths of Tolkien's lore, it really makes us think, what would have actually happened if Morgoth and Sauron ever teamed up again? What kind of profound implications would come from such formidable forces either uniting up or clashing against each other? While the resurrection of Morgoth by Sauron seems a near impossibility given the cosmic order established by Eru and the Valar, the mere contemplation stirs a chilling prospect for Middle-earth. Would their combined might usher in an era of darkness beyond reckoning, or would their divergent natures lead to a destructive rivalry, further fracturing the already scarred lands? It kind of just goes to show that In those twisted, dark corridors of Middle-earth's past, those whispers of Morgoth's return with Sauron's reign were always kind of there in the background. They may actually remind us that perhaps those darkest chapters were yet to be written. But if it did ever come down to it, together they could cast the world in a shadow of unending night. A terrifying thought. But with that now though, it is time for my question of the day, which is, can you imagine a world where the shadows lengthen under Morgoth's return? How do you think the heroes and peoples of Middle-earth would react to such a dark resurgence? Please share your thoughts and theories on this in the comment section down below. And now it is time to give a massive thank you to our patrons who continue to support the channel. You are all amazing. And if you have reached the very end of this video with me today and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It would massively help us out. And why not drop a like on the video as well? And with that, all I can say is, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.